Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Good morning, good morning, everyone. Good morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Good morning, welcome, 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 welcome. Come on in. Good morning, good morning, good morning. We are live, we are live, we are live. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Morning, good morning. Hey y'all, come on, click like and share. Good morning. Good morning. I don't know why this keeps doing this. So let me just edit real quick. Good morning, y'all. And it won't let me. Oh, goodness, Lord. Good morning, y'all. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Come on in, come on in. I'm getting ready, I'm getting ready. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Good morning, welcome. Welcome to Pink Robe Chronicles. I am the Reverend Dr. Melva L. Sampson. I am the curator and the creator of this digital hush harbor, this spiritual gathering of truth telling, of wisdom bearing. Good morning, good morning. Come on in, come on in. Where authenticity is our superpower, Ashe, where we are brave enough and bold enough to hold the truth of our members and to expand our understanding of sacred text. Ashe, Ashe, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning to each of you. Welcome. I invite you as I am making sure that all spaces are available, are able to see and to join. All right, and we should, our Facebook Pink Robe Chronicles page is up. Our YouTube, that's not what I want. My YouTube page was just YouTube is up. Good morning to the Digi Deacon. Good morning, Natasha, Attorney Natasha Robinson, Kanita McGee. Hey, home girl, Kitty Walker from Pittsburgh. Good morning, Dr. Rihanna. Good morning to our YouTube fam. Good morning also to those of you who are on Facebook. Good morning to the pastors on here who are also friends and colleagues. I see you, Pastor Nika Wilson Brown. I see you, Pastor Hodari Williams. I need to get in contact with you, brother, so we can talk and help me in my planning, Ashe, for our trek over to the continent. Good morning, Mel Chris. Good morning, good morning, good morning, everyone. And Digi Deacon Carlene is here too. Good morning, Digi Deacon Carlene. It's good to see you. Good morning to everyone. Everyone, good morning, Queen Terrace. How you doing? I just want to take a minute. Love, positivity, greetings, greetings, Dr. Vernita, Reverend Glenty, Dr. Sonia, Dr. Candace. Hey, Leah, soon to be Dr. Leah Jordan. Y'all come on and let's congratulate our PRC member, soon to be Dr. Leah Jordan, who will be starting her Doctor of Ministry program this summer at Memphis Theological Seminary there in Memphis, Tennessee, where she will be focusing on womanist preaching. Hashay. We congratulate you and we celebrate with you. So, yes, please take a moment to click like and share. Greetings, Faith. Hey, Mama Carolyn. Good to see you. Dr. Jamie, Reverend Jenny, Baba Omo. Greetings, 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 everyone. It is good to be with you. Were you with? No. I wish I was with Blitz that weekend. Good morning, greetings. Yeah, no, not me. Um, so I want to say on behalf of our community member, whom I will share more for those of you who enter into the clearing, thank you. Thank you so much for your support, for your giving, for just the way that you for just the way that you show up. Thank you. It is important to be in and with the community. As Mama Itiari, our community elder, always lifts up, that is strong enough to hold the truth of its members. And so we give thanks that when we put out the call for mutual aid, that we show up. There are too many accounts when we have done this for me to go back and say, remember that time. Just know that this is what we do. This is who we are. And I am appreciative, as well as our community member. When you are, I don't know if this is a term, but I'm going to use it. Housing vulnerable. When you are vulnerable to housing and to the basic amenities, it creates a level of anxiety that is really that produces trauma. Ashe, that produces a level of trauma that some of us who have experienced that have to spend a lot of time working through, Ashe. And so when someone puts the call out because they are vulnerable in that area, it always touches me because I know what that feels like. And so I just cannot really say thank you enough for how we show up for one another. I was talking to somebody this week, a foundation person, about what it would look like to start an actual mutual aid fund, because we do a lot of it, but it is also because of the times that we're in, and it's kind of a sankofa, this praxis, a liberating praxis, this sankofa of returning during the Great Migration, when Black folk were moving in droves from the South to the North and to the West. Oftentimes, when they arrived to their destination, they would arrive with little or next to nothing. And it was mutual aid funds and societies that assisted and aided Black folk who were coming from the South to the North and to West in search of better opportunities. And so we are thankful to be able to retrieve those practices, those practices. And don't worry if you did not have an opportunity to give this time. Just know that there is a next time. It is a given, particularly in what is happening in society today. So just thank you in advance. I want to thank you on behalf of our community member. Thank you, Mel Chris. Mel Chris is saying, thank you, PRC, for helping my coworker last week. Oh, so grateful. And she says, thank you. Thank me for putting her name in the atmosphere. Thank you for responding with love. Ashe, ashe, ashe. Before also we get started, the clearing part 2 is July 30th. I will be opening up the registration later on this afternoon on Eventbrite. For those of you who were participated in part 1, what will it take? We asked the question, what will it take for you to do the works that your soul must have? We were blessed with 8 conductors who shared, who testified, who led us to freedom, who led us on an underground railroad toward Canada. And we are in the middle of our journey heading towards Canada, towards independence, towards financial freedom, towards social entrepreneurship, towards doing what we believe that we are called to do. And so in this second part too, that also considers the question, what will it take? You know, I too am using Beyonce as a muse around You Won't Break My Soul. And so how can we move beyond, how can we move, we're checking in on our progress from the first 6 months of the year as we begin the second 6 months of the year. And so two of our conductors will be alums of part one, and they will share with us their progress on the work that they've been doing, so that they can encourage others of us who are may not have gotten as far along as we wanted to or needed to, who got a little discouraged along the way, who need more information, how to streamline their projects, so forth and so on. I also put out there, these are your morning announcements. I also put out there that I just want to say, I need help. Melva Sampson needs help, personally, in my works. I would, I don't know if it's a director of operations, a project manager, someone's, I need help. And so for those of you, maybe I just need to get a description together first, as that would be helpful, and what I need help for. And so that I can also say what I'm able to spend at this time. And I think I've been holding back from saying I need help because I was like, I don't really have, where's this extra money going to come from to pay for this person, da 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 da. But I'm putting it out there, operating in growth, and I am saying I need help. So that announcement will be coming out shortly. Good morning to all of you who have joined. Thank you for paying attention to these announcements. So greatly appreciate you. Good morning, Dr. Kosawa, and all of you. Good morning, Dr. Chayla. Good morning. I want to talk about something, and my hesitancy Ashe. No hesitancy. I'm just listening to spirit. Ashe. I want to talk about seasons. Go with me for those for whom like to follow in the book of Genesis. Chapter 16. A lot of stuff in my Bible. To frame. I want to frame this conversation. Frame this conversation. Genesis chapter 16. Beginning with Genesis chapter 16, beginning with verse 1. Now Sarai, Abram's wife, bore him no children, and she had an Egyptian slave girl whose name was Hagar. And Sarai said to Abram, "You see, the Lord has prevented me from bearing children. Go into my slave girl, for it may be that I shall obtain children by her." And Abram listened to the voice of Sarai. So after Abram had lived 10 years in the land of Canaan, Sarai, Abram's wife, took Hagar, the Egyptian, her slave girl, and gave her to her husband Abram as a wife. He went into Hagar, and she conceived. And when she saw that she had conceived, she looked with contempt on her mistress. And then Sarai said to Abram, May the wrong done to me be on you. I gave you, my slave girl, to your embrace. And when she saw that she had conceived, she looked on me with contempt. May the Lord judge between you and me. But Abram said to Sarai, your slave girl is in your power. Do to her as you please. Then Sarai dealt harshly with her, and she ran away from her. And the angel of the Lord found her by a spring of water in the wilderness, in the spring on the way to Shur. And he said, Hagar, slave girl of Sarai, where have you come from and where are you going? And she said, I am running away from my mistress, Sarai. And the angel of the Lord said to her, return to your mistress and submit to her. And the angel of the Lord also said to her, for I will so greatly multiply your offerings that they cannot be counted for multitude. And the angel of the Lord said to her, now you have conceived and shall bear a son, and you shall call him Ishmael, for the Lord has given heed to your affliction. He shall be a wild ass of a man, with his hand against everyone, and everyone's hand against him, and he shall live at odds with all his kin. So she named the Lord who spoke to her, you are El Roy, for she said, have I really seen God and remained alive after seeing him? I want to then go forward. I'm not going to really meditate on this latter part, but it is important for us to understand for context. So jump over to chapter 21. And then the Lord had dealt with Sarah. So her name has now changed from Sarai to Sarah. And Abram's name has changed from Abram to Abraham, because in between chapters 16 and 21, the covenant has been made where God has chosen both as God's people, and as a result has changed their name to reflect that choice. The Lord dealt with Sarah, and he had said that the Lord did for Sarah. So Sarah has a baby. She has a baby. His name is Isaac. Verse 8. Then the child grew and was weaned. Verse 9. But Sarah saw the son of Hagar, the Egyptian, whom she had borne to Abraham, playing with her son Isaac. And so she said to Abraham, cast out this slave woman with her son, for the son of this slave woman shall not inherit along with my son Isaac. The matter was very distressing to Abraham on account of his son. But God said to Abraham, do not be distressed because of the boy and because of your slave woman. Whatever Sarah says to you, do as she tells you, for it is through Isaac that offspring shall be named for you. And as for the son of the slave woman, I will make a nation of him also, because he is your offspring. So Abraham rose early in the morning, took bread and a skin of water, gave it to Hagar, putting it on her shoulder along with her child, and sent her away. And she departed and wandered about the wilderness of Beersheba. And when the water in the skin was gone, she cast the child under the bushes, and then she went and sat down, for she feared that she would have to look upon the death of her son. And as she sat opposite of him, she lifted up her voice and she wept. God heard the voice of the boy, and the angel of God called to Hagar from heaven and said to her, what troubles you, Hagar? Do not be afraid, for God has heard the voice of the boy where he is. Come, lift up the boy, hold him up fast with your hand, for I will make a great nation of him. Then God opened her eyes and saw a well of water. She saw a well of water. Back to 16, Genesis 16, verse 9. Then the angel of the Lord said to her, return to your mistress. Whew. So I want to talk about seasons, but I want to begin with the declaration of no more. It is important to, just before preparing to come down, to get on and to be in community with you all, I was thinking about some relationships. That in this season for me have taken on, they have morphed into something different. There have been types of developments in particular relationships that had me in my feelings, Ashe. Wondering my place, wondering, Ashe. And as I was thinking about a few of these relationships, I clearly heard seasons, that the season has shifted, the season has turned. And I responded out loud, well, I just feel like I didn't have any notice that the season was shifting, that the season was turning. And I felt blindsided, if you will. There were no, sometimes you get indicators, you get the yellow lights, the cautionary lights, like the red lights. There was no, I just feel like my experience is that the season has shifted, and I'm so disappointed. I'm so wounded. I'm so hurt by the shift of the season. I wish that I had more time in the season. I wish that I'd had an opportunity to really understand. Just go with me for a minute. I have to set this up to really understand what was happening in this season. And as I continue to mull over what might be going on, I then heard a little bit more, and that little bit more was saying that, Melva, listen, if you don't recognize the season that you're in and you try to remain in another season, then havoc is going to happen. It's like when now, and I've said this before, because it's like here we are in summer, but if I'm a person who loves winter and all that comes with winter, all of the preparation, all of the heavy garments that comes with winter, then I will be out of place in summer. Seasons come for us. Each season has its purpose, and in the purpose of that season, it is imperative for us to lean in, to look closer with our spiritual eye, with our mind's eye, so that we don't miss the move. And also, what I understand is, in a particular season, that oftentimes we have more questions than we do answers. My help me, Spirit, help me, Spirit. That in these seasons, Angel, how you doing? We have more questions oftentimes than we do answers. What are you saying today? Today, I want to invite you to consider with me in this season of questions. I want to invite you that as we go to this particular text, that it just might be your season to see something different. It just might be your season to ask a critical question. It just might be your season to be affirmed in many of the ways you have often been, you have not been affirmed in your traditional spaces of faith. It may just be your season to see, to question, to almost really say, nah, I'm not feeling that. It may be a season for you to recognize that God can handle your questions, and God can even handle your critique. Oh my goodness. I know that I've said a mouthful there. And so here we enter this text. This particular text found in Genesis 16 and carrying over to Genesis chapter 21, where Sarai and Abram are in a season. Hey, Reverend Kendra, they are in a season. God has promised to Sarai that she would bear a son, And for those of you who know anything about the place of women in antiquity, which given all that is happening in 20 and 22, women's places in antiquity does not feel so different from women's places in our current context. But given what it meant to be barren, what it means to be barren, how a woman's function was attached to her ability to give birth, to bear children, how if she was not able to bear children, then she was marginalized and set outside of the camp, if you will. And as a result of that barrenness, felt as if she had been cast out, not honored by God, felt as if her value and her worth were problematic. The lesson though in this season was for Sarai and Abram to trust God in their process. But Sarai got anxious, as many of us have gotten anxious when God has shared a vision with us, or when God has spoken through us or to us or through someone to us, and told us X, Y, and Z. And because we have not seen it, because it has not come about in the chronological time that we believe according to our Western ideations of time, because it hasn't happened, some of us have been tempted in the season of waiting to take matters into our own hands. And anytime you begin to take matters into your own hands as you are transitioning seasons, or as you are in a particular season, you can rest assured that probably more times than not, stuff is going to go afoul. My goodness, today, stuff is going to go afoul. Yeah. It is natural, though, to feel anxious. It is natural to want to help God out. It is natural to want to move into, but when we do this, I'm not sure if we fully understand the repercussions. I'm not sure if Sarai understood the repercussions, or if she cared what the repercussions were of her going to get her handmaiden, a handmaiden, one who was a slave to the mistress, who was in a lower class to the mistress, whose obedience was to the mistress, not to their God, whose obedience was to the ruling family who controlled their bodily functions, the handmaiden who had no bodily autonomy. So Sarai then disregards the promise that God makes to her and her spouse. And in an attempt to come from the margin, listen, there are so many sides to it. In an attempt to come from the margins because of how she feels, and it could be hurt, it could be ego, it could be many things. I'm not going to spend time on Sarai today because she has the position of power in this particular text. Although she is marginalized equally, she is marginalized also as a woman, but in this text, she has the power, and that's not where our focus is today. So Sarai, the text says, she bore him no children, and so she gives the slave girl Hagar to her husband Abram, and Abram goes into her, meaning he sleeps with her, meaning he has sex with her, and she becomes pregnant. And the text says that she grows in contempt. You damn right she does. She grows in contempt to Sarai, and she runs away, the text says, and we catch up after she runs away in verse 7. And the angel of the Lord found her by a spring of water in the wilderness, and he said, slave girl of Sarai, where are you going? And where have you come from, and where are you going? Sarai tells him, I'm running away. And the angel of the Lord said to her, return. Now, I imagine that some of you might be thinking right now that the direction of this sermon is that somehow I am going to help you find redemption in returning. Some of you, I think, right now may be waiting for the shout and can't wait for somehow for me to somehow make the connection between Hagar's obedience to return and the way God ultimately blesses her, because God hears the cry of her son in chapter 21. But be clear, God hears the cry of her son, not of her. Some of you might be thinking that somehow we're about to, move into the space, into the season where you need to go back because there's something you've forgotten. You need to go back because there's some lesson, or you even need to stay. But this morning, I want to say that I'm in a different season. I got a different lens, and this lens tells me that there is no divinity in returning in this context. There is no divinity in returning to chaos. There is, let me say it again, there is the season that the Spirit just spoke to me so clearly, that my season, and I'm imagining some of your seasons, shared with me that these relationships are in this season, and that I keep trying to retrieve them, but there is no divinity in returning to chaos. So I'm questioning here the writer, I'm questioning here the angel, I'm questioning here, God, why would you tell her to return to chaos? There is no salvation in chaos. I don't care how you spin it. I don't care how you turn it. I don't care which way you do it. I don't care what anointing you put on it. There is no divinity in returning to chaos. The issue at play here is what womanist theologian Dolores Williams calls surrogacy. Surrogacy, wherein one stands in surrogacy as we know it in our current context, where someone stands, delivers and or labors, right, brings a child forth, and someone else will become the parents, right? So where someone else carries a child, delivers, labors and delivers, and someone else will become the parent. Similarly, surrogacy in a larger context means when someone stands in place to take on the responsibilities that are meant for someone else to carry out. When someone stands in place to take on the responsibilities that are meant for someone else to carry out. Dolores Williams provides for us in her seminal text, Sisters in the Wilderness, the problem with surrogacy and Black women. Ah, my goodness. The problem of surrogacy and Black women. And she helps us to see in this particular text how Black women, as a result of their status in this country and in their status, she uses Black enslaved women to show how Black enslaved women were surrogates. Surrogates in the sense that they were made to breed children. They were made to care for the children of the owning family. They were made to stand in. They were made to do work, and that others, according to what society believes in their gender roles, should have done. And what Dolores Williams helps us to understand is that this surrogacy is not a model, is not a vehicle for survival. So she opens up with this exposition on surrogacy as Black women's oppression. Williams, I'm reading from a text here that I'll give you the citation in a second. Williams reckons surrogacy that it defiles Black women as it tames, controls, and violates Black women's bodies and ruptures and obliterates their spirit and sense of self. Let me run it back. Surrogacy, according to Dolores S. Williams, surrogacy defiles black women as it tames, controls, and violates black women's bodies and ruptures and obliterates their spirit and sense of self. Go back, return. So to return to a position of forced surrogacy, where someone who has more power, where someone who has been overseeing you, where someone in a relationship where the balance is not equal or equitable, tames, controls, and violates. It ruptures and obliterates your spirit and your sense of self. Why then, God? Why would you tell? Why would the angel of the Lord tell her to go back? But Williams, she also contends, according to this text, that black women struggle against surrogacy. So this discussion moves to black women's strategies to survive their surrogacy. And that's what I want to talk about today. I want to talk about the season of surviving surrogacy. And the first point in this season of surviving surrogacy is to recognize, is to get in your spirit to have a no more spirit. No more. No more. No more. No more. I want to see your hearts. A no more. A no more. A no more. Listen, on this week in my sister friend group chat, one of our community members and dear friend and supporter learned that one of her community members was shot and killed by her spouse, and then in a murder suicide. And one of the things that she said to me that I think triggered me in my own trauma and in my own remembrance of living with a mother who experienced domestic violence as a child of domestic violence was one of the things is in they identified her as a good church girl. She was a good church going woman. And I started to think about all of the folk who are suffering, particularly all of the black women who are suffering in surrogacy, but all of the folk, the good church going folk, who are suffering as a result of believing that their goodness, that their position, if you will, has to be dictated by maintaining their space in struggle. Listen. I, 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 I this notion that if the word says it, Lord Jesus, Portia, if the word says it, I believe it. That's enough. And so how many of us have remained in situations that we were forced into, and for some of us, we walked into, because we believed that we heard from the Lord, that the angel of the Lord appeared to us and told us to return. It's that part. And I hear Reverend Naomi Washington Lee part all up and through my spirit. God, do you love black women? Do you love black folk? Do you love? Why? And y'all, I can't rescue God in this text. I cannot rescue. I have tried. I cannot find a way to rescue this text. I cannot. There is no way that I can rescue. So when some people who can't rescue text, they just don't preach it. They just act like it's not even in the sacred text. They just go beyond it. Yeah, they But I tell you, friend, when I heard you say she was a good church woman, and I thought Hagar was a good girl, I imagine, whose control over her body was compromised by someone in a higher position of power than she. For all intensive purposes, the way that this reads was likely raped, violated, so that she would give her son to Sarai. Y'all. But then Sarah says, may the wrong done to me be on you. Now Sarah, who created this havoc, then says to Abram, because Hagar is pregnant, may the wrong that's on me be done to you. May the wrong done to me. Well, this is why this is confounding. So you knew it was wrong. She conceives and now you believe it's wrong, even though you set up the situation to be what it is. May it be done to you, Abram. I gave her to you. I gave another person to you. I'm gonna simply just say, because it's coming so fast, and I'm trying to be sensitive to where folks are theologically, and I'm trying to be sensitive to, am I parsing this right? Even though I'm not a biblical scholar, I'm not getting ready to do all of that. Let me just go with where I hear Spirit speaking. Let me just pause right here. There is no glory in your return. There is no glory in your returning to a situation that has violated you, maybe not physically, but emotionally, spiritually, that has not seen your value, that has not seen your worth, be it person, be it institution, be it organization. There is no value in surrogacy in this context. There is no value for you suffering. There is no value in you being the suffering servant. There is no value for you to keep writing something. I'm telling you that the wheels have fallen off. I'm telling you that they've already fallen off. I am telling you that it does not make sense for you to put the wheels back on. How can you put the wheels to a Toyota on a Tesla? It doesn't match. It doesn't fit. Acknowledge the season that you're in. I'm saying that there is no glory in the return. I'm challenging this text. I'm saying that there is no testimony because she ran away and went back and God blessed her with her son and made the son a wild ass of a man. Somebody tell me where the glory in that is. Somebody tell me where the glory in that is. Somebody find it for me because I can't see it. And I'm saying to Spirit, I'm not going to be preaching this text and telling Black women and other marginalized folks to just hold on, to just go back, that God is a keeper and God will make a way out of no way and God will answer your prayers. I'm not telling them to walk over to chapter 21, even after Sarah still now, even after her name is changed, even after her name is changed, which suggests that she should have changed when she recognizes and sees the beauty in the creation, the beauty in Isaac, in Ishmael, and says that her son cannot take place over my son, and tells Abraham to put her out, even when she gets put out of a situation that she never asked to be in, and realizes the possibility that her son could die. God, the text says God hears the cries of her son. God doesn't even respond to the cry of the black woman to Hagar. God hears the cry of her son, the male. I'm telling you, it's hard. It's hard. It's hard being a woman. It's hard. And it's hard because sometimes you cannot even find value in this sacred text that we attempt to live our lives by because even it will fail you. Come on. Look at the rape of Dinah. Look at the rape of Tamar. I'm not trying to turn you against this text. I'm trying to invite you to set yourself free, to suggest that everything it says may not be conducive for your survival. That's all I'm saying. And I know I have stepped heavy. I know, oh, geez. Ooh, I know it. 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 But as I know that, I also know that somebody needs to hear no more. Somebody needs to hear no more. Somebody needs to hear that it is okay that you ran away. Somebody needs to hear that it was not an okay situation. Somebody needs to hear it. It started off wrong. Somebody needs to hear your autonomy was compromised from the beginning. Somebody needs to, yes, somebody needs to hear it. Yes, Kitty, she heard it. She heard it, and yet she went back. And here's the part of the text where our imagination, where we have the ability to reimagine. Yes, Mel Chris, scriptures have trapped folk too, even though many of them have delivered. Yeah. We can say ultimately it worked out for her good. We can say ultimately God fulfilled God's promises, and she her son was made, ruler of the nations, and she went and got him a wife from Egypt, from her home, and she heard God. I guess, Kendra, what my wrestle is with, it's the in between. Like, because she heard doesn't make everything else okay. It doesn't make the abuse okay. It doesn't make what she went through okay. It doesn't make the violation okay. It doesn't make the surrogacy okay. We can't just wipe away these painful moments in our lives with, won't he do it? We can't just sort of not see the complexity and not engage the nuances of these seasons by simply saying, God is able. There is some way for me that God has to respond. There is some way that I have to acknowledge my own agency. And so I'm like, well, Hagar, why did you go back? Because I found myself judging Hagar. Come on. Why did you go back? What the hell? Because see, later on in Esther, we see that Vashti rolled out. She was exiled, and that's she. We don't hear that she tried to come back. And then I had to look at my own life. Hallelujah. I had to look at my own life. I had to check my own spirit, check my own. Sometimes we return because we see no other way. Sometimes after we are emancipated, whether it is self-emancipation or otherwise. Sometimes we return to the chaos because we can't see another way, and because of the way that society benefits from patriarchy, from misogyny, and from other ways of being that are not beneficial to marginalized beings, being women. Sometimes we cannot see any other way. And so we go back with the belief that it's only going to be for a little while. I am no longer judging that, because sometimes for some it is the regrouping that is necessary. But I'm saying, I guess what I'm also saying here is that, as I'm not wanting one to feel judged and to feel shamed in their return, I'm also hoping that you receive this encouragement and empowerment to run, because we have in our history folks who ran. Ha! We have in our history folks who walked and did not return. Come on here, Harriet Tubman. Come on here, Araminta. Yes, we are reminded that Harriet Tubman did not return to the chaos, but when she did run, when she did reach her point of freedom, she only returned to free more. Come on, these early 19th century preaching women like Jarena Lee, like Zilpha Ayla, like Rebecca Cox Jackson, left all that they knew to follow what? The call. They begin to walk. They use walking as a trope of liberation. They begin to walk to fulfill their assignment, to evangelize. Come on in here, girl Trek. These two teachers who found a movement based on the witness of Harriet Tubman, who began to walk for the savings of lives in communities, not for their own selves, but for the entire community. Our survival is not in surrogacy. Free yourself from believing that you need to stand in the position of suffering in order to be deemed appropriate to God, in order to be seen, in order to be blessed, that somehow you need to suffer at a level, that somehow you need to stay in situations where you are abused, where you are looked over, where you are violated, where you are not acknowledged, where you are misunderstood. I'm telling you that no more. It is a new season. It is okay for you not to return. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. I want to release you from it. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Yeah. Interestingly, the angel says, "Where have you come from and where are you going?" And Hagar is able to say, "I'm running away from my mistress." But she never says where she's going. Listen. The angel of the Lord found her by a spring of water in the wilderness, the spring on the way to Shur. And she said, Hagar, and he says, Hagar, slave girl of Sarai, where have you come from and where are you going? And she said, I am running away from my mistress Sarai. Verse 9, then the angel of the Lord said to her, return to your mistress and submit to her. And the angel of the Lord also said to her, and I will so greatly multiply your offspring. You gonna multiply me to go back into bondage? What the hell? But many of us have been socialized to take on this suffering that Dolores Williams talks about. And this suffering is played out in the suffering, as we move to the New Testament, in the suffering of Christ. That somehow we find the suffering of Jesus's own surrogacy on the cross. But what Dolores Williams helps us to see is that there's no salvation, there is no sanctity in the suffering on the cross. The sanctity is in the resurrection. Stop glorifying the hurt glorifying the pain as if this is what built you, as if this is why you are forged strong. There is no survival in that type of surrogacy. The surrogacy is in life and more abundant, y'all. Woo-wee! I wish that you, like, I'm hot. I'm having to undo my robe. Listen, 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 listen. Oh my God, today. Let me go back to this portion of the text and get ready to head us over to the clearing. This survival struggle and or the struggle for survival quality of life is what Williams identifies as the basic character of Black women's lives. At this juncture, this discussion proceeds to describe the traditional and cultural sources that are at the heart of Williams' Womanist God Talk. Williams' Womanist God Talk starts with the cross and atonement, whose problematic interpretation and utilization, particularly by conventional African American churches, help clarify Williams' articulation of Jesus' ministerial vision as the locus of redemption. What follows is that of the wilderness and or wilderness experience, which Williams advances as the more relevant and inclusive representation of the experience of Black people, especially for Black women. Within the struggle for survival and embedded in Black people's wilderness experience is the Black church. As such, a description of the Black church, the core symbol of African American struggle for survival, segues into this discussion. Ultimately, again, what Dolores Williams is saying, there is no redemption in surrogacy, in standing in place. And so I just for a moment want to speak. If we were in a space, my God, if we were in a space together, this is when I would cue the music. I just want you, as I get our clearing together, I just want you to be silent for a second and listen and consider your response to the questions that I am about to pose to you. Who benefits from your return? My God, today. Who benefits from your return? Who benefits from you returning to the chaos? Why do you think it is necessary to return? My God, Jesus. Why do you think it is necessary for you to return? I just want you to think. Yeah. Come on, Spirit, and do your work. Hallelujah. 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 My. Come on, Holy Ghost. Have your way. Who benefits? Yes. Who benefits? Now, what would happen? What would happen if you believed truly in what was beyond the chaos? For a moment, I want to talk directly to Black women. That includes trans Black women. Your right standing, or your moral value, your I don't even want to use the word redemption. It is not tied to how long you can suffer, how much you should suffer. It does not require surrogacy. It does not require you standing in. It does not require you to give up bodily autonomy. It does not require you to remain in situations that are not life-giving. And yes, now I want to speak to the brothers, trans brothers included. Same. And to the non-binary, same. To humanity, same. We have to reconfigure. We have to reinterpret, not even reimagine, but imagine. We have to construct, not even deconstruct and reconstruct. We have to construct an ideation or construct a way of being in relationship that does not require our obliteration. Yes, Elizabeth, our suffering is not the currency to our value. Ashe. For whomever this was for, in a very practical sense, not being so esoteric where the meaning is hidden, not being so philosophically deep, but in a very practical, pragmatic understanding for the person who needed to hear. It's okay not to return. I just feel you so deeply in my spirit. It's okay. There is no glory in your suffering. There is no divinity in your suffering. There is no joy in it. You don't get a higher seat. Yes, Reverend Kaya, you don't have to die to get it. You don't have to die to get it. I am inviting you all to meet me in the clearing. Ashe. Meet me in the clearing where for some of us we need to tarry a little bit longer beyond the gaze of such a public space. Meet me in the clearing to just be in the presence, to just talk back to the text, to just engage, to just be. Thank you. Thank you for receiving this word. Thank you for receiving this message. Thank you for those of you. Ooh, we invite those of you who give and sow to do so in this way. We thank you in advance. Mm, 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 mm. It's like I just heard a door open, not like something I see, just, the sound when a door opens. Yes, Spirit saying, and let you know that it requires courage. Yes, 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 yes. Hey, Y'all, I got to come off of here and head on over to the clearing. Ashe, Ashe, to want to bring this text over, bring what you just quoted with Audrey, Lord, bring that over to the clearing, if you will, until we see one another again. God bless.